You've got yourself a bike, and now you need to figure out how to break that bike in. We give you the technical know-how as to why break-in is so important and what are the parts that get impacted if you don't break in your motorcycle properly. Hi, so welcome back to the Motor Show podcast. I'm back at Yogesh's garage, Mechanics Motorrad in Pune, and we thought we'd go back to the time that somebody buys a motorcycle, and the first thing that is there on the instruction manual is to break in your motorcycle. So we thought we'd address breaking in a motorcycle and why is it so important. So I'm gonna bring back Yogesh, and I'm gonna ask him the first question, which is breaking in important, and why is it important?
Yes. Hello. Breaking in a motorcycle, any petrol or diesel or any automobile is very important, because the reason why it is important, as everybody knows who owns a motorcycle or a scooter or a whatever bike vehicle, the first thing is, when you buy it, the service manual, the owner's manual, or the people who are there who selling the bikes, they will tell you that at 500 kilometers or 700 or 1000 kilometers, get your bike done a first service. So there is a reason behind that, and if you go through the owner's manual of every motorcycle or a scooter or bike, it is written that you should not exceed X kilometers of speed, you should not do hard throttling, you should not do things which is not proper for a brand new motorcycle. So, should I explain the reason?
Yeah, so what is the reason? I mean, I read it in a manual and I say, okay, I should not do these things. But there's a lot of technical expertise put into it as to why you should not be doing it. And what happens inside the engine that may cause it to do what. And that's why we thought you would answer that question.
Yeah, so the reason why, if you consider here in India, basically Indian manufacturers we will take only motorcycles, and I'll explain only regarding to motorcycles. So in India, the companies which manufacture motorcycles, they do mass manufacturing. So in the plant, not all the engines which are assembled on the assembly line go for a testing. For say, when a brand new engine is assembled, they say they put it in a engine bay and test it. Not all engines do that. There are few, say they manufacture 100, build a 100 number of engines. From those 100 engines, only one engine will go for testing to check all the parameters are correct, and then the other engines will be on the motorcycle, and they will be So if you buy a Indian manufactured, why I am saying it specifically, I'll come to it. See, if you buy a motorcycle which is manufactured in India, or not only in India, but you go to other countries, like you go to Bangkok, you go to Japan, Singapore, wherever. So wherever there are manufacturers who manufacture local motorcycles. So these local motorcycles, not all engines go for testing, as I said. So when these engines are brand new, they have very tight tolerances. See, the piston to bore clearance, then the piston ring to bore clearance, they are very tight. The bearings, which say, for example, connecting rod bearing, engine bearing, gearbox bearings, the gearbox, the meshing, and the clutch plates, these are very tight. They have kept to a tight tolerances. For them to come to the specified tolerance, you need running in. So what is running in? Running in means you should not exceed a X amount of speed with X amount of engine load with X amount of, you know,
Throttle.
your throttle. So when you say running in, or there is another term called break-in period of a engine or a motorcycle. So everything, not only the engine but the chassis, the wheels, the brakes, they are all brand new. They need to mate with each other to get them to a proper mating, to the proper correct tolerances. You need break-in. Manufacturers cannot do it because it's a very costly process. Manufacturers, uh, that's why I give you and tell you that you do the braking. If you do proper braking, the bike's lifespan increases a lot. It will not go to, if you don't do a proper braking the way it has to be done, the parts don't, mate with each other properly. The tolerances don't match completely. So that's why they indicate a special, if you see speedometers of all these Indian motorcycles, now there are some bikes which come with lights, economy mode and power mode. So there is always on the speedometer, you will see green lines. It's at 40. So it's 40 to 50 kilometers. You have a green. Above that, it is a red line. So why that is given is because of a braking, and it at that kilometers you have to keep your motorcycle at that kilometers when you do the braking period, because the engine RPM, the gearbox, the everything is at a certain RPM. For example, at say you ride at 40 kilometers per hour, and you keep your engine RPM to 1000, 1500, 2000 RPM. So that is where the engine is going to be sitting properly. Means it is going to get all the parts will be completely mated properly for that period of kilometers. It is a time cycle.
Okay.
How it was calculated, old times and all that. This was done via a very big calculation method. This run time will take at this speed will take this many kilometers to happen. So today it's very simple. 700 kilometers or 1000 kilometers. Today's engines are very efficient. So the quality of that engine and the materials used is also very good. So that has increased. In earlier times when these old SD Javas were there, or you take a RD, when RDs was coming from the factory, the first break-in was at 250 kilometers. Then it came to 500, now 750, now 1000. And now there are few companies which give you 10,000 kilometer limit.
Yeah.
So you can understand how these engines have become very, means the parts quality, the machining quality, the uh, materials is very very high quality engines.
Okay. So let's get some of the unwritten rules of breaking in. You mentioned the first one was don't accelerate too hard. The second one you said just keep it at a don't over rev your engine. Don't rev too hard, and if you're at a cruising speed, you should be at a very comfortable where you know the bike is just there's no load on the engine. There's one more that a lot of people tell you is you should be in the right gear. And somebody told me that if you're in a brand new engine, don't be in a very high gear with a very low speed, so the bike is struggling. But so, what is the reason for that?
Yes. Many people, this old not old, say, people who used to ride Royal Enfield Bullets, old one, with a heavy crank. What they used to do is, they used to put that motorcycle in the fourth gear. RPM was around 1000, 2000 RPM. And they used to ride with thug, 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 arams.
Yeah.
Those engines were made to do that.
Okay.
That was what they were manufactured
It's very high torque engines.
Very high torque, because it's a heavy crank engine. So I'll not go in deep details what is heavy and light. Heavy crank engine, so they have more torque at the engine. Stroke is very high, so that stroke and you.
So there's a lot of mass.
Lot
there's
of
a
mass
weight on
which
that
is
that will move
rotating.
it. Yeah, got it.
So and the gearbox ratios are also very, designed in such a way that it can take that.
Got it.
Today, if you a person who is riding that kind of motorcycle for 40 years, and you give him a CD100,
Yeah.
and if he goes and does that same thing, 2000 RPM, fourth gear, that bike will not do it.
Yeah.
Because the gearbox ratio, the crank, and everything is totally different. That will not do it. Many people, even today, they they don't change gears
Yeah.
on on riding and all that. They don't change it. They will just pull on with that gear. The engine will do the crrrr sound that it'll knock.
So you're putting load on.
You'll put load on the engine.
Okay. So what parts?
So what parts? First thing, the transmission will be eaten up.
Okay.
Transmission is the chain sprocket, the final transmission. Chain sprocket will go under extreme load. Second thing, the first impact which it will give you, when you try to load that engine, your crankshaft connecting, it will be under a very high load, because it needs to produce power, and that is where the power is coming from. So if you know how the engine mechanics work,
Yeah.
so connecting rod will go under a heavy pressure. People who ride like this have opened up their engines in 30,000 kilometers.
Yeah. Got it.
Max 30,000, I'll say.
So you start having play because and then there's that noise, the
that
crank
noise
noise. But this is so. What is the relevance of this at the time of breaking in? Is that because there's anyways enough load on that engine because everything is so tight? That's why they tell you to be in the right gear.
Yes. First thing is, because of that tight engine, the engine heats up too much because the friction is too much. And when the engine comes from the factory, they don't give you synthetic oils, or they don't give you very high quality oils in that engine. They will give you break-in oil. Engine oil, what is there in that motor, is designed for break-in, is formulated for break-in.
It's a mineral kind of oil.
It's a simple mineral engine oil. Very low quality grade engine oil. Because that burr which has to come out, that meshing which has to be done, the seating of the bearings, the clearance of the metal clearance of this has to be done, because if you use a very good quality engine oil at the beginning, this will not happen. That's why not a single motorcycle manufacturer will give a synthetic engine oil in his motorcycle.
Got it. So like a break-in oil.
Yeah, it's a break-in oil. It's a simple mineral oil. That is why if you see a first oil change, when you buy it from a showroom and you go at 1,000 kilometers to the service center, you see that engine oil, when you drain it, it has burr inside it. You will say that I have followed all the break-in procedure, but still why there is burr? Because it is designed to do that.
Right.
So this is what I was saying about these Indian manufacturing motors. Now you take a superbike. People will say, whatever you are saying, ride at this kilometers of braking. So a superbike in a 6th gear will do with the lowest RPM, engine RPM, and the lowest engine load. It will be like 2,500, 700, 3,000 RPM. In 6th gear, it will be doing 150 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
Some motorcycles will do it at 120 kilometers. But below 120 kilometers, it will start jittering. Because it will start, the harmonic balance of that engine will be total. It will start giving you jerks. Cut. It will start doing at 120 in 6th gear. Some bikes manufacturer who have a heavy crank or a mated transmission can pull you in 120, you will not have that. But some you cannot. You say you take a Ducati. You cannot ride a Ducati at 120 kmph in 6th gear. It's not possible. It will start giving jet. It will jadder. You have to put it at least at 130 or 140 kilometers per hour on the sixth gear, then that bike will run very nice. So it's throttle calibration. The rider, how he calibrates his throttle. So if you give if a person, a right person who knows how to do a throttle calibration, and you give him, he can show you how to ride a motorcycle in a sixth gear at 100 kmph. He'll say, see, I can ride it, will not, but how many can do it?
Yeah.
So that's why the factory has given you limits. If you go through the owner's manual of a Ducati and you go through a owner's manual of a Hayabusa,
Yeah.
both are opposite.
Yeah.
Completely opposite. What they tell you to do is completely opposite. Now you take the same CC motor with all the specifications same. The final drive is same, the gearbox is same, ratios of that gearbox so is same. The final primary drive gear ratio is also same. Everything is same. CC is same. You take a 2-stroke, you take a 4-stroke with same chassis, same everything same. There is not a single difference in anything. But there is a difference in what 4-stroke engine is and what a 2-stroke engine is. If you ride a 2-stroke engine at a constant throttle, it will start heating up.
Yeah.
You should never ride a 2-stroke engine at a constant throttle. Constant throttle, you can pull a 4-stroke engine.
Yeah.
2-stroke engines, you have a side oil fill or a premix oil for the lubrication of that.
Yeah.
If you put it at a constant throttle, that film will start, that constant RPM of an engine. See, if you ride 100 kilometers at 100 kmph, constant speed at your driving, say you are braking it, so you are riding at 50 kilometers per hour, and you go 100 kilometers straight with a constant throttle on a 2-stroke. By the time you reach 100 kilometers, that engine will be overheated.
Got it.
Because that oil film starts
Burning by itself.
Means that's called quenching. That quenching effect will start disappearing. That it will not put that oil there.
Got it. Okay.
And if you, so that's why earlier people who used to ride 2-strokes, and mechanics also who work on 2-stroke, they know it. They you cannot put a 2-stroke on a constant throttle. You have to keep playing with that throttle. 4-stroke is totally different. In a 4-stroke, you go with plain throttle, your average will drop.
Yeah.
Because 4-stroke needs more loading. It's a total different mechanics, I'm saying. Who wants to go deeper and understand what this is? Just put on Google how the mechanics work. Machine engine mechanics.
So in a break-in, you're saying you should not have a constant throttle.
You should not have, no. You can have a constant throttle on all these modern motorcycles.
Yeah.
But not for a longer time.
Not for a long time.
You need to deaccelerate. Why you need to deaccelerate? Because at that constant engine, see, you take 2 hands and you start rubbing it.
It'll keep producing heat.
It will start producing heat.
Got it.
But if you press your hands together tightly and you start rubbing, you start rubbing at a constant.
Got it.
And at that constant speed also, you just release the load, the heat will reduce in your hand. And your palms will feel lesser heat. You rub it very fast, like this. And you increase and decrease the load. You will see that the heat produces very less. And you will see that when I was doing it slowly and with a tight, and now I am doing it fast, but I am varying the speed, varying the pressure on my palms. The heat is produced very less. That is the same way how the machines work, engines work. When you deaccelerate, then accelerate, then deaccelerate, then accelerate. If you are constant at say 50, braking in time, you are at 50 and you go to 60. So you hold up at 60, drop it to 50, then again you hold up to 60. So for that 10 kilometer ka difference, it will not give you, your mileage will not drop because the RPM is almost constant. It will drop by 200 to 500 RPM. But
Just the revs go up and down.
Just revs, because engine will cool heat. This is the effect.
That's a cycle that
This is the cycle. This is the break-in cycle which the company or the motor wants to properly break in.
Got
The
it.
cooling cycle and the heating cycle.
Yeah.
The thermal efficiency of the engine also increases. Long distance running, now people say I did 1000 kilometers in one day. So 1000 kilometers one day you will be doing at 150 kmph. You take a mean speed, it will be around 100 to 120. Even if he's riding at 150, his mean speed will be 100 to 120 kmph. So at that speed, means if he is doing 100 kmph constantly, so his throttle is at 100, but he is doing 150 on the speedometer. But if you accelerate, deaccelerate, it's not possible to go 1000 kilometers straight in 150.
You have to slow down somewhere.
You have to slow down somewhere.
So
So
it's
that
okay.
is the cycle.
That's the way it should be. Broken.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So I think you've covered why, what are the rules of breaking in, why braking is important. So let's take the long term, both the bad and the good effects of a badly broken in engine and a well broken in engine. So what is the good effects and the bad effects that can happen over a long period of time?
Okay. So now I'll give you example. One motorcycle manufactured by Suzuki, ridden by X person, came in for a loose compression. The same motorcycle manufactured by the same company, driven by another X person, came for the same job. Kilometers were different. So the first person who bought his motorcycle for that work, which was he has lost his compression. His compressions were completely different. He had no compression, the proper compression, say for example is 100 psi. On the compression, it had dropped down to 50, 60, 75, 90, somewhere like that. That guy came in at 30 some odd kilometers, 1000 kilometers. The other person who did a proper break-in, his bike came in at 1,80,000 kilometers.
Got it.
So you can understand the difference. If you don't see, this guy is the first guy who lost his compression. The day he bought the motorcycle, he was ripping it too hard. Means he didn't do proper braking. And the first oil change, even that was a completely wrong information given to him by the company that do it at 10,000 kilometers. So that was the first thing. You in India, no oil, whether it is a 7,000 rupees liter oil, it's impossible. You cannot run that oil for 10,000 kilometers. Not in anything, not in any vehicle. Yeah, you can run 10,000 kilometers when your oil capacity is more than 5 liters, which is not possible in motorcycles.
You don't have it right now.
Yeah, you don't have it. The quantity of oil is quality, how fast that quality deteriorates and how that oil can withstand the cleaning effect and all that in the latest machines. So his mistake was he rode it very harshly. He did not follow a single braking procedure. See, you have to bear till only 1,000 kilometers. You have to keep patience. If you still don't have patience, do it at least 500 kilometers. Just break in at 500 kilometers. Be cool. It's your motorcycle and you're going to do whatever you want to do. But till 500 kilometers, just follow the lines.
So what could have gone, is that the mating of the ring to the bore?
Yeah.
That was the simple.
Yeah, it is simple. We lost the compression because there was no proper oil. Means I explained it earlier.
The quenching thing. That you're saying.
It was not there. You are riding the brand new motorcycle as like a means you are using it like you are using it on a drag strip. You are using it like you are on a race track. You are using it like you are on a dirt track. that motorcycle is only one. It's designed to do only one thing. If you want to do all the nuisance with your motorcycle, just do proper braking. Then you can do anything it is designed to. See, in plant, you take this BMW S1000R.
Yeah.
So you take this Kawasaki 10R. You take this motorcycle H2R. These are track spec machines, R1M. They are track spec machines. Those engines, each and every engine goes into a test bay. First assembly directly into the test machine, test bay. They will run that engine at. But even there may be some videos on the YouTube. You can go through that videos how you do that engine testing. Even if you go into a test bench, they will not immediately go to red line RPM or a limiter RPM of that engine. They will gradually go. It will take them like they will first keep it at 1000. For 1 hour it will be running on 1000. Then it will be 2000. Like that. Slowly they will go to the top. Say it is doing 13,000 RPM. It will go to 13,000 RPM. But it will go after 13 hours. Or it will go after 6 hours. But nothing less than that. So that is how even the company does it. Then that same engine which has done the testing with that same engine oil, not every company will, after doing that test run, they will not give you a fresh engine oil.
Yeah.
That will be the same engine oil. So only that engine is washed and then fitted into the motorcycle.
Yeah.
So that's why the company says you do a break-in at 1000 kilometers, you change that engine oil because we have already used it.
Got it.
You change it. So that's why they say you go and change the engine oil at 1000 kilometers. So all the bikes which you buy, which people buy here in India, 10,000 kilometers is not for India. It's a marketing gimmick. No oil lasts.
Yeah. I think some of them are saying 16,000 also now.
No, I don't know what they put inside. But no oil lasts. I have a ex-company oil which cost 4,600 rupees a liter. I have tested that oil also on brand new motorcycle. After break-in, you put that oil. You see here riding here in city all Sunday rides and all this. He has gone to the track also and all that. At 7,000 kilometers, that oil had lost its
viscosity and characteristic.
Viscosity, the characteristics of that oil, the lubrication, what that oil should produce. It has lost it at 7,000 kilometers. When a 4,600 rupees can lose, you can imagine what a
break-in oil would. Yeah, got it. Cool. I think you've answered all our questions. So the takeaway is go easy on the break-in and let your bike break in properly.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks so much, Yogesh. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
On our podcast. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I want to hear your stories, your motorcycle experiences, what you've been doing, and how motorcycles have made your life better. So if you have something to say, DM us on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to get you on this podcast.